You know, with Spider-Man Homecoming now in theaters, it's interesting to note how even though Peter Parker has been an adult in the comics since before I was born, and I'm way older than you, every time they do a new movie version or an Ultimate Universe, it seems like they want to put Peter Parker back in high school.
And no surprise, because when Stan Lee and Steve Ditko introduced Spider-Man way back in 1962, he was noteworthy because, among other things, he was a teenager dealing with real issues in between his superhero battles. And Spider-Man wasn't a sidekick like Robin or the kid on a team like Johnny Storm or Snapper Carr. He was the hero. And that resonated with young comic readers at the time.
And of course, there had never, ever, ever been a teenage superhero before in comics, so you see where this is going, don't you?
I suppose the example of Golden Age teen heroes would be Fawcett's Captain Marvel, but I'm going to skip him because while a young boy in his secret identity, the Captain Marvel identity itself is an adult. For the same reason, I'll pass on MLJ's The Red Rube.
Which is sad, because when am I ever going to talk about the Red Rube again?
One trend that was especially popular in the 40s was the so-called boy gang, generally consisting of a kid who uses big words, a tough kid with a Brooklyn accent, and a hillbilly, among others. Although some, like the Little Wise Guys or the Newsboy Legion, started out as support for an adult superhero, they often took over the feature, and a few, like Jack Kirby's Boy Commandos, just started out as independent groups.
Oh, but Patrick, you're telling me. You said you weren't going to talk about kids on teams. I mean, these kids are the teams, but fair point. Let's talk about solo teen heroes. There were a handful.
How strange for people to kill each other like that. I'm going to stop them. Hey, look, Yank, he's going to throw a hand bomb. That means more fun, Doodle. What do you think of crime now, Slug? I feel like a heel. All that trouble because of me. Lesson number 2 on the peace program coming up. Shove over, pal. You've got a visitor. Holy smoke, the Crash Kid.
I think, though, for significance, we want to talk about Crime Buster.
Listen carefully, monkey. I doubt if you can understand me, but try, will you? Introduced in Boy Comics number 3 in 1942, Crime Buster is Chuck Chandler, clad in a hockey jersey and cape, and accompanied by his monkey sidekick Squeaks. Chandler's parents were murdered by the terrible Iron Jaw, one of the best lost villains of the Golden Age. Created by the legendary Charles Biro, Crime Buster is armed only with his wits and military school training to face a villain that would give any hero of the era a challenge.
Crime Buster was, without a doubt, one of the greatest teen heroes of the Golden Age. However, being as he was published by a company that was neither Marvel nor DC, he isn't very well known to today's audiences, as compared to, say, the Star-Spangled Kid?
I'm the Star-Spangled Kid, and I'm going to produce plenty of stars from now on. I'm Stripesy, and the old flag is going to do plenty of waving when I get going. Turning the hero's sidekick formula on its head, the Star-Spangled Kid, created by National Comics, now DC, was a young hero who had an adult sidekick, Pat Dugan, aka Stripesy. An expert athlete and hand-to-hand fighter, the kid was brought back in the 70s as part of the revived Justice Society, eventually founding his own team in the 1980s, Infinity Inc. And though Sylvester Pemberton has fallen out of the spotlight, his banner was passed down to Pat Dugan's stepdaughter, Courtney Whitmore, aka Stargirl.
Which begs the question, were there any teen girls in the Golden Age?
I mean, you got your Boy King, Nature Boy, Dynamic Boy, even Dickie Dean Boy Inventor.
But were all the teen girls just sidekicks like Kitten or tagalongs like Little Miss Redhead? Unfortunately, mostly. But
here he is, officers, all ready for jail.
Tomboy. Tomboy was fantastic. It was a well-written, well-drawn strip about a teenage superheroine who was not only competent, but respected.
Respected by the police, respected by the citizenry, feared by the criminal community, and despite her pretty green blouse and baby doll skirt. Her dad was a police detective who, not knowing his daughter Janie Jackson was the heroic crime fighter, considered Tomboy an asset to the city. And her brother Bill, who had kind of a creepy crush on her.
But as this demonstrates, even though we do see the home life of some of these characters, the ones that aren't orphans anyway, the problems they have at home tend to be tied to their superheroics.
Keeping identities a secret, how to sneak away to battle the Claw, Boy King was a monarch, young Robin Hood was the son of the city's wealthiest man, Kid Eternity was a ghost.
So when Spider-Man came along, he was more than just a teen hero.
Despite being a genius, he struggled with school, he had to deal with bullies, had to worry about keeping his job with the world's worst boss. His aunt was constantly on her deathbed, and there was no money to pay for medicine. He had love triangles, girlfriend problems that were something other than Lois wanting to expose his secret identity, or Carol being in love with his alter ego and not him.
He wasn't simply a teen hero, he was a teen who happened to be a hero. His problems resonated more with those other characters because they were problems that the readers might have themselves.
So it's no wonder that, despite adult Peter being the status quo in the comics since the late 60s, the movies and cartoons and other adaptations keep wanting to put him back in high school. He's one of the greatest heroes of all time, but he is the greatest teen hero of all time.
Despite having only been a teenager in the comics for about half a decade. So, Spider-Man is more powerful than the Crime Buster, but he's also more down to earth, and that is Spider-Man's Golden Age influence.
With my rainbow, I can change this automatic semaphore signal to red.